So recovery at Delta means a recovery from the industrial side, and that's largely because Delta accounts for 23% of this particular index. Tinashe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, tell us what happened at Delta that led to gains on the industrial side.
I think it's mainly due to the expectation of excellent results that are due next week. So I think the market is pricing in the expectation of their results that are due next week.
Okay, the mining index continues to flip-flop a bit. This time it's dragged down by Fal Gold and also Hwangwe. What happened at Fal Gold? And just explain Hwangwe. There have been a lot of issues there, it seems, over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Hwangwe has had a lot of shareholder disputes and currently it's under a new board. It also has to do with capitalization issues that still need to be addressed. Fal Gold is basically pricing since it had jumped a lot. I think it's just a normal market volatility accounting for the decline in Fal Gold.
All right, let's talk about other things that may drive and influence the markets. We are going to be seeing a slew of results coming through. Avdis, the distillery, had their AGM, and part of the things that were resolved was an employee shareholder scheme.
Yeah, they approved a 4.05 million share scheme for its management and staff, and of which to note also is all the resolutions were passed. They also held a brief trading update for the 4 months to October, where they recorded an increase in volumes by 60%, and they have traded profitably in the period.
Tractive Power Holdings. Tell me about this company. Their earnings are up 297% year on year. Are they starting from a low base?
Yeah, they're mainly into motoring. Their earnings were up to 1.1 million, 297 up or year on year. We also seen an increase in the EBITDA margins, but needless to say that their revenues have not matched the budgets, partly due to the liquidity constraints on the Zimbabwean markets, as well as the tsunami that hit Japan earlier in the year, since most of the parts come from Japan. And they have also declared a dividend of 0.1 cents per share, with an LDR of 25th of November 2011.
Okay, give us a sense of how the company is performing in the context of the Zimbabwean economy. Obviously, we're seeing more sales in tractors and generators, also sales in vehicles. So it does suggest that industrially, the economy has started to pick up, that business is starting to be more productive, if you're looking at these figures.
Exactly. When you look at it, it's one of the few companies that have been operating profitably. What has helped them is they are adequately capitalized in a market where liquidity is a challenge. So most companies that are struggling is not due to the viability of their business, but due to the funding and liquidity constraints on the market. So I think the Tractive is well poised to take advantage of these since we are still in the growth mode of the economy.
Continuing on this tack, Tinashe, let's talk about manufacturing capacity utilization figures that show that the sector has gained 57.2 points. It does say that industry is up and running in Zimbabwe, that output levels are rising.
Yeah, output levels are rising. Things are getting normal, but we must take note that we are coming from a low base, and that low base will lead to higher percentages when you then calculate the increase. But we need to note that as of June 2011, the capacity utilization has increased in the industries.
All right, let's look at this very heated issue of indigenization. We know that obviously some issues are now put on hold when it comes to the mining side, but it seems as though the government is ready to gazette some guidelines on the banking side.
Yeah, the National Indigenization and Economic Empowerment Board, NIB, has engaged the banking sector players, and they will be gazetting the threshold for the banking sector. We might note that the threshold that has generally been put was 51% for indigenous and 49% for foreigners. But we might see a revision downwards on this figure. So we wait for the November deadline to see what the threshold will be for the banking sector.
And then a perspective on the macro side of the economy. It seems as though Tendai Biti and his team are doing well. Revenue collection up at $660 million. Yeah,
that figure was above their targeted figure of 654 million, which was a positive variance of 3%. Mostly the revenue has been coming from VAT and payee and customs duty, which contributed 225 million, 85 million and 148 million respectively. We must then commend Zimbra because the measures that they've put in place for revenue collection have been effective to date, but this is not the best that they can do.